Do you feel like the more you interact with people, the less you actually connect? Ever wondered why some people just can't stand big crowds, small talk, or endless social gatherings? If you've ever felt that intense urge to just leave a party or skip a meetup, then this video is for you. Picture this. You're at a party, surrounded by people laughing, chit-chatting and dancing, and yet there's this undeniable feeling that you just don't belong. You're not the life of the party, and frankly, you don't even care to be. You see people desperately trying to fit in, but it all feels so empty, and all you want is some peace and quiet, maybe with a good book or a cup of coffee, away from the noise. Now, let's be honest, Sigmas. Don't pretend you haven't been there. You've probably had more moments where you cringe at the idea of forced interaction than you care to admit. But why is that? Why do intelligent Sigmas hate socializing? Well, here's the truth. Sigmas aren't like everyone else. They don't need to chase validation from others. They don't crave the spotlight or the endless small talk that seems to plague social events. They're comfortable being alone, and that's not a bad thing. It's a superpower. So today, let's explore 11 reasons why intelligent Sigmas hate socializing. Grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Number 1, the noise overload. You've probably experienced it before. The buzzing, the chatter, the laughter, and the endless gossip. All of it swirling around you, blending into one overwhelming noise that makes your head spin. For Sigma males, this kind of environment is not just tiring, it's downright draining. Sigmas by nature are introverts, and they thrive in silence and solitude. Unlike others who may find energy in social interactions, the constant stimulation of social events can feel like a mental assault for Sigmas. When surrounded by too many voices and too much noise, Sigmas struggle to focus. The constant stream of conversations makes it nearly impossible for them to think clearly or enjoy the moment. They might even retreat into themselves, seeking an escape from the sensory overload. For Sigmas, being in a crowded room can feel like a battle to hold on to their peace of mind. This need for peace isn't just a preference, it's essential for their well-being. Without the ability to retreat into quiet spaces, Sigmas risk becoming overwhelmed, stressed, and mentally fatigued. The silence of solitude is where they recharge, allowing their minds to process, reflect, and regain energy. It's in these moments of stillness that Sigmas can think deeply, make clear decisions, and focus on their personal growth. Ultimately, Sigmas need peace, not noise. They understand the importance of protecting their mental space and ensuring they have the time and environment to reset. For them, too much noise is not just a nuisance, it's a barrier to their clarity and focus. Number 2, the small talk trap. Small talk. We've all been there, right? You walk into a room and someone greets you with the usual, "Hey, how's it going?" or "What's new?" While these questions are meant to break the ice, for Sigma males, they feel more like an obstacle than a conversation starter. Sigmas are not fond of engaging in shallow or repetitive exchanges because they believe that time is valuable and small talk doesn't offer much of a reward. For Sigmas, social interactions are an opportunity to connect on a deeper level. They crave substance and authenticity in their conversations, valuing genuine connections over surface-level exchanges. Whether it's discussing philosophy, the latest discoveries in science, or even deep introspective thoughts, Sigmas are naturally drawn to topics that challenge their minds and align with their values. These conversations not only stimulate their intellectual curiosity, but also allow them to feel more aligned with themselves and others. On the other hand, small talk can feel draining to Sigmas. It's often seen as a necessary evil in social situations, but it's not something they actively seek out. They'd rather sit in silence than engage in a conversation that feels forced or meaningless. This preference stems from a strong sense of self-awareness and a desire to use their time wisely. Sigmas understand that real growth happens in meaningful conversations, not in repeating the same scripted greetings. So next time you find yourself at a gathering where the conversation feels more like a performance than a real connection, remember that Sigmas are probably just waiting for that moment when the conversation finally dives into something that matters. Number 3, fitting in feels fake. Sigmas are known for their authenticity, and this trait makes them stand out in a world that often pressures people to conform. Socializing can sometimes feel like a game of pretending, nodding along to conversations that don't interest you, agreeing with opinions to avoid conflict, or wearing a mask to fit into certain social circles. Sigmas, however, refuse to play that game. They don't mind being the odd one out because they're more focused on being true to themselves than on seeking approval from others. This authenticity is not about rebellion for the sake of it. It's rooted in self-confidence. Sigmas are comfortable in their own skin. They don't feel the need to pretend to be someone they're not, just to fit in, or to make others comfortable. This is what sets them apart from most people who may feel the need to follow social norms to avoid rejection or judgment. Sigmas know that conformity doesn't lead to fulfillment, it only leads to a lack of self-expression. Being unapologetically yourself requires a strong sense of self-worth, and Sigmas have mastered this. They don't let the opinions or expectations of others dictate their actions. This can make them seem aloof or distant to some, but in reality, they are simply not interested in compromising who they are for the sake of social approval. In a world that celebrates blending in, Sigmas stand out because they refuse to play by the rules of societal conformity. They embrace individuality and show others that true confidence comes from being authentic, regardless of external pressure. And this in turn often draws people to them as they radiate the kind of self-assurance that others admire. Number 4, energy drain. It's no secret that social interactions take a toll on Sigma males. While many thrive in social environments, Sigmas tend to feel drained by them. Engaging with others, particularly in large groups, is often like emptying their emotional battery. Unlike extroverts who gain energy from socializing, Sigmas recharge in solitude. They find peace and strength in quiet, reflective moments where they can process their thoughts and regain their mental clarity. This need for personal space is rooted in the way Sigmas process their emotions. When surrounded by others, especially in busy or noisy settings, their minds can become overstimulated. Over time, this overstimulation can lead to emotional fatigue. It's a stark contrast to how extroverts function. Where social interactions fuel their energy, Sigmas tend to feel drained after extended periods of socializing. What makes the Sigma experience even more unique is their heightened awareness of their energy. They deeply value their inner peace and well-being. For them, spending time alone is essential, not just for recharging, but also for maintaining emotional balance. It allows them to reflect, analyze their experiences, and regain their focus. Without enough alone time, Sigmas can feel irritable or overwhelmed. This is why many Sigma males avoid large social gatherings or any situation that demands excessive interaction. They prefer intimate settings, one-on-one conversations, or quiet activities that allow them to stay grounded. It's not about rejecting social connection. It's about ensuring they preserve their energy and emotional health. For a Sigma, solitude isn't a sign of loneliness. It's an essential practice to stay at their best. Understanding this need for solitude can help others respect and appreciate the balance that Sigmas strive to maintain. Number 5, lack of depth in social interactions. How many times have you found yourself sitting in a room full of people, caught in conversations about the latest trends, celebrity gossip, or trivial drama? It's easy to feel disconnected in such situations. For many, it can be a mind-numbing experience. Sigmas, however, don't share the same enthusiasm for shallow banter. They're not here for small talk. Instead, they crave conversations that engage their minds and spark deeper thoughts. Sigmas are naturally drawn to meaningful discussions that challenge their intellect. Whether it's philosophy, psychology, or thought-provoking ideas, these are the types of exchanges that excite them. They prefer to explore topics that stretch their understanding, broaden their perspectives, and push the boundaries of their knowledge. To a Sigma, anything less feels like a waste of time. They're not interested in conversations that skim the surface. They want to dive deep into subjects that offer new insights and provoke critical thinking. This preference stems from the Sigma's unique approach to life. While others may enjoy the comfort of familiar, shallow exchanges, Sigmas find fulfillment in discussions that allow them to grow mentally and emotionally. It's not about keeping up with the latest gossip or fitting in with the crowd. It's about finding value in every interaction. Conversations with Sigmas are often rich with ideas, questions, and perspectives that stimulate growth. They believe that true connection happens when people engage at a deeper level, and that's the kind of connection they seek, one that challenges them, inspires them, and leaves them thinking long after the conversation ends. So the next time you're with a Sigma, don't be surprised if they steer the conversation toward topics that make you think. For them, that's where the real value lies. Number 6, judging the social hierarchy. Sigmas have a unique ability to see through the games people play to gain social status. In social situations, they can immediately recognize the subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, power plays happening around them. Whether it's someone subtly trying to one-up another, bragging about their achievements, or using connections to manipulate situations, Sigmas are keenly aware of these dynamics. Unlike others who might feel compelled to engage in these behaviors, Sigmas simply observe. What sets Sigmas apart is their indifference to the concept of social status. While others often hustle to climb the social ladder, Sigmas don't feel the need to play the game. They're not driven by the desire for validation or approval from others. This lack of concern for social ranking often creates a sense of disconnection in social settings. While others jockey for position, Sigmas stand apart, comfortable in their own skin and uninterested in the approval of the crowd. This detachment from the social hierarchy makes Sigmas incredibly self-reliant and emotionally independent. They are less affected by societal pressures or judgments because they don't derive their sense of worth from social acceptance. Instead, they focus on personal growth, inner peace, and meaningful connections, which they value far more than status or accolades. In a world where social games often define interactions, Sigmas stand as a reminder that true worth comes from within, not from climbing an artificial ladder. They see social hierarchy for what it is, a game they don't need to play. Their ability to stay grounded and detached from these superficial dynamics is one of the defining traits that make them so intriguing. Number 7, the fear of being misunderstood. Sigmas are often seen as the lone wolves of society, standing apart from conventional social norms. They are independent thinkers whose ideas, emotions, and perspectives tend to be deeper and more complex than most people realize. This makes them unique, but it also means they may face challenges in social interactions. Sigmas often perceive the world differently, and when they try to communicate their thoughts in social settings, their deeper, more introspective nature may be misunderstood. In social environments, Sigmas risk being misinterpreted. Their preference for solitude or selective socializing can lead others to view them as distant or even rude, even though this is far from the truth. Sigmas do not seek constant validation from others. Their confidence comes from their own thoughts and values, which is why they don't feel the need to explain themselves. For this reason, they may avoid social events that require conformity, preferring to stay true to themselves and build meaningful connections. Number 8, the need for personal space. Sigma. Males cherish their personal space, valuing solitude as an essential part of their lifestyle. For them, it's not about being antisocial or avoiding interaction, but rather about creating room for personal growth and reflection, whether it's a quiet corner in their home or a secluded spot in a park. These spaces are their sanctuaries. They thrive when they can disconnect from the noise of the world and focus inwards. Socializing can sometimes feel like an intrusion on this sacred space. Sigmas are not typically fans of crowded gatherings or forced interactions, especially when it means compromising their ability to recharge and process their thoughts. For them, time alone is crucial to maintain balance and clarity. This need for personal space is also tied to their ability to grow and reflect. Without the constant external influence of others, Sigmas can dig deeper into their own thoughts, explore their ideas, and cultivate their sense of self. It's through this solitude that they come to understand the world around them and their place in it. So while they may seem distant at times, it's not about isolation. It's about creating the mental space to evolve and be true to themselves. Number 9, inability to relate to superficial lifestyles. Sigma males often find themselves at odds with the superficial aspects of society. While many people place great value on material possessions, the latest trends and social events, Sigmas tend to care very little about these things. Their focus is primarily on personal growth, knowledge, and pursuing meaningful endeavors that align with their values. For them, is not about keeping up with the latest fashion or attending the hottest parties. It's about constantly striving to better themselves. This disconnect often leaves Sigmas feeling out of place in social settings, where conversations revolve around the next trend or status symbol. Instead, they gravitate toward deeper, more purposeful discussions, seeking to learn, grow, and contribute to causes that matter. Their mindset is driven by a sense of purpose, not the fleeting excitement that others chase. In essence, Sigmas are motivated by internal fulfillment, not external validation. Number 10, emotional disconnect. Sigmas are known for their high emotional intelligence, but this doesn't mean they connect with everyone emotionally. In fact, they tend to keep their emotions guarded, which can create a sense of emotional distance from others. This isn't because they're incapable of forming deep connections. It's more about their preference to avoid emotionally draining interactions. While many people might interpret this emotional distance as aloofness or coldness, Sigmas simply prioritize their emotional well-being. They are selective about who they open up to, choosing only those who bring positivity and emotional balance into their lives. By setting boundaries and protecting their emotional energy, Sigmas maintain a level of emotional clarity that helps them navigate relationships more effectively. This approach allows them to conserve their inner peace, ensuring they don't become overwhelmed by unnecessary emotional turbulence. It's not about being distant, it's about being intentional with who and what they invest their energy in. Number 11, fear of losing their identity. Sigmas understand the importance of preserving their sense of self in a world that often pressures people to conform. They recognize that excessive socializing, trying to please others, or constantly adapting to social norms can gradually diminish their authenticity. By putting themselves in social situations where they feel they have to fit in, they fear losing their true identity. This is why Sigmas are very selective about the interactions they engage in. They seek solitude or environments that allow them to recharge and stay connected to their core values. Being constantly surrounded by societal expectations can create internal noise, making it harder to focus on personal goals and desires. Sigmas intentionally avoid this by guarding their individuality and nurturing their personal space. They value self-reliance, introspection, and independence, ensuring that their identity remains intact despite external pressures. For Sigmas, being true to themselves is a non-negotiable aspect of life. Sigmas, I hope this video gave you some insight into why intelligent Sigmas often avoid socializing. It's not that we hate people, it's just that we're not willing to sacrifice our time, energy, or identity for superficial connections. If you're a Sigma, embrace your need for solitude and remember that true connection comes from quality, not quantity. If you resonated with this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and join the Sigma community. Let's continue to thrive in our individuality and live on our own terms. Stay true and stay Sigma.